Hi, it's Siobhan from Mid Valley Physio. Today we are going to talk through a very common exercise that we do through a lot of classes as warm-ups, ward and downs, in Pilates and yoga. Cat, camel, cat, cow, happy face, sad face, whatever you like to call it. We're going to go through this as a little bit of a motion. I'm just going to break it down a little bit for you so you can understand what you're meant to be doing in the motion. In a class that I might be teaching on any one day, you see a variation of this exercise for everyone that's completing it. The idea is that we have even distribution through each of the segments of the spine as you are moving. Some people will have more movement, some people will have less movement. People who have less movement will try to get the movement from somewhere else. You might notice elbow bending or overarching through the neck. People who have quite a lot of movement will tend to dominate through those areas. So they'll move through those areas because that's their strategy that they always use to move. So let's explore that a little bit further. We are going to come into 4-point kneeling. So in 4-point kneeling, my setup, I want the fingers spread wide as much as I can, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. What I see happen for a lot of people is that they bring the weight a bit further back and then the hands are here. So they've got more weight through the legs and through the arms. So really try to make sure that your weight is shifted. If you can use a mirror for this, this is even better because you can get quite a lot of feedback if you have a quick peek to the side and make sure that you have got the correct alignment. So starting position here. The basis of the movement is that we are creating an arc through the spine in one direction and an arc through the spine in the opposite direction, and moving with the breath. So from here we are going to take an inhale to prepare, so breathe in, don't do anything, and as you exhale I want you to feel the navel lifting, the shoulder blades separating as you press the hands into the ground. And you can see why this comes from a cat position. If you imagine that you were picking a cat up off of the ground, just around its rib cage, imagine somebody was doing that to you and you were the cat. And they were just lifting you off and your knees and your hands are just touching. We're trying to get that full rounding through the spine. So not just through the upper back, really focusing through the lumbar spine also. And then slowly coming in the opposite direction. That was a long breath out. You can take a couple of breaths in the middle, I will just get a feel for it. So in the opposite direction, for me, you can see my dominant movement would be just to go straight into the lumbar spine and straight into the neck, looking up like this. These are the areas that I move really well from, and I don't quite move as well from my mid back. So we're going to try and correct that a little bit. So as I come through this time, I'm going to lengthen my tailbone away and really lifting through the sides of the throat and really engaging through the shoulder blades. So I'm really still pressing firmly through the hands. In a different way, my shoulder blades are almost wrapped around the back of my rib cage. And then rather than just hyperextending my neck to look forwards, I'm lifting through the back of the neck, and I can really feel that strongly in through the mid back and shoulder blades. So let's do that with the breath now. One breath in and one breath out. As you inhale, prepare. And then as you exhale, coming through, letting the head rest down, completely imagining you with that cat getting pulled up away from the ground, and then inhale, opposite direction, and exhale, and inhale. So rather than feeling that you're getting any forwards, back movement as you're coming through, you want to imagine your arms and legs as table legs, and imagine that the spine was a really flexible top of the table that is capable of bending one way and bending the other. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging, we can practice articulating the spine from one end to the other. So starting in neutral, so right in the middle of those two movements, and then as you exhale, starting at the tailbone and trying to feel each bone of the spine move one at a time, curling through up to the mid back, and then the head comes down last. And then the same, the opposite direction, letting the tailbone release, lengthening it away like a Mexican wave, slow motion Mexican wave, up through the spine, shoulder blades, and lifting through the back of the head and neck. And then maybe from the other end of the spine, so chin, head, shoulder blades. I find this way a little bit more challenging. Mid back, low back, tailbone, and under, and then from the head again, slowly coming through, lifting, shoulder blades, length, 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 tailbone reaching away, and then slowly through. So working through the basics to start with is a really nice way of getting a little bit of segmental movement through the spine, but you really need to be aware that you're not just doing it according to your normal movement patterns, because they might not be segmental movement and you might be reinforcing a bad habit. So see how you go with this move and feed back to me and let me know how you go. Thank you.